Did you know Cristiano Ronaldo and LG could help you understand diversity in Indian society? Interesting, right? Hi, I am your Arunav Sir, and in this lecture, we'll study diversity in Indian society. So, these are some articles which had appeared in today's The Hindu newspaper. Today, when I'm recording this video, it's 27th of June. And to understand these articles, we'll have to understand diversity in Indian society. So, how will Cristiano Ronaldo help us? Cristiano Ronaldo goes to an LG shop to buy a television. Now let's assume there's a clone of Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, now they both go together to the LG shop to get a television. So we have Cristiano Ronaldo 1 and Cristiano Ronaldo 2 who go to the LG shop to get a television. So we get CRCRLG. Now what is CRCRLG? Well, these are the dimensions through which we'll understand diversity in Indian society. So let's look at the first dimension, that is the first C. The first C is caste. So we all know there are four castes in the Indian society, and then we have the untouchables. So we know there's Brahmins, then we have Kshatriyas, then we have Vaishyas, and then we have Shudras, and we have the untouchables, right? So there are four castes. This is a vertical hierarchy that we have in the caste system, right? So there is diversity in caste in the Indian society. Okay. So because there's diversity, we need a caste-based census. That is what the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly has urged the center. Because when we have a caste-based census, we'll be able to understand that the affirmative actions in the form of reservation that we have given to some castes, has it really benefited them? Do we need to do something differently? So all this we'll understand only when we have a caste-based census. And then we also have reports of such crimes being committed against some castes, okay, and we have laws to prevent such atrocities also, okay. So that's a part of the Indian society. We have diversity in castes in the Indian society. That is the first C, okay. Let's move to another dimension, that is R, which is religion, okay. So now this picture sums up what religious diversity is in India. So I'm sure most of you know about this film. It's a 1977 film. It's Amar Akbar Anthony. So three brothers, which got separated as kids and were raised by three different families from three different religions. Where in the world do you see something of that sort? Only in India can you see that. And also because there are so many religions in India, India has a peculiar form of secularism. Of course, that we'll study in polity. Okay, so this is another dimension, that is religious diversity is there in India. So we've covered one CR so far. Okay, so moving on to the next C, which is cultural diversity. Of course, we know there are different cultures in our country, but then to remember different cultures, I mean, how to write those in your answers, we can remember data. Okay, what is data? So that is dance, then there's art, theater, and there's architecture. Okay, so dance forms, and also we can include music here. So we have 8 different classical dance forms as recognized by Sangeet Natak Academy. There are different folk dances that we know, folk music that we know across India. Then there are different art forms, as in paintings. We know about Madhubani paintings, Kalamkari, all these paintings are there. Theater forms are there. Here in Assam, we have mobile theaters. Then in Bengal, we have Jatra, then Tamasha. That is also a form of theater. And different forms of architecture is also there. So we have Persian architecture, Mughal architecture, and so all these different forms of architecture is there in India. So that gives cultural diversity. Along with this, we can also write about food habits. We can also write about festivals. Okay, so that's how cultural diversity exists in India. Then moving on to the next R, we have different races, we have different tribes, and also we have different ethnicities in this country. Okay, so we have around 730 tribes in the scheduled tribe list. Okay, different ethnicities. So of course, there's a difference between race, tribe, and ethnicity, which we'll study in the chapter of tribes. But then this is the diversity that exists in the forms of tribes, races, and ethnicities. Okay, and then when we look at this news item that appeared in today's The Hindu newspaper, joint combing operations held in violence hit Jiribam. That's because we know the violence that has been there in Manipur for the past 1 year. And that's because the Meiteis and the Kukis are different ethnicities and they're fighting against each other. Okay, so there's diversity, and that is the reason why there's conflict between these different ethnicities. Okay, so so far we have covered two CRs. Okay, so we have covered one CR here, one CR here. Okay, and now we have to move to L and G. LG. Okay, so linguistic diversity is there in India. So there are different languages in India, and we also respect this diversity. That is the reason we have spoken about three language formula for a very long time in India, and then that is also evident in the new education policy. We also often see that we try to impose some languages on some uh, states which don't speak those languages. So that is also seen very often. So we have to respect the diversity that these languages have. Now, if we see, we have around 22 languages which are mentioned in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Now, of course, a percentage of speakers is written here, but then I would like you to emphasize on the languages, these languages. Okay, so we have 22 languages here, right? So that just shows the kind of diversity that we have linguistically in India. And then also, according to the 2011 census, we have 1369 mother tongues in India. Okay, it's very easy to remember 1369 if we just remember 13. So 13 square is 169. So it's easy to remember 1369. Okay. So these that is the kind of linguistic diversity that we have in India. Moving on to G. Now, very often people miss this point, which is geographical diversity when we talk about diversity. If we look at this physical map of India, we see we have mountains, we have hills, we have plains, we have plateaus, we have a big coastline, and we have a desert as well. So all these things are there. So people form different cultures only because they are from a certain geographical area. We have to understand that. So people living in the desert areas of Rajasthan, so they have the kind of food they eat, the kind of music they have, the kind of culture they have. It's only because the geographical region is a desert. Moving to hills, if we see the food items consumed, those are different. The festivals are very different, right? That's because they live in hills. The kind of clothing they wear is different because of the geographical diversity that's there. Okay, so that's something we have to understand. Okay. Now, this article that appeared today in the Hindu says read the rocks to improve India's geological literacy. Okay, so only when we understand that there are different rocks across India, we'll understand how to utilize that as a resource. Fine. Few years ago, there was a question in the UPSC mains which asked about why are temples monolithic in South India and it's not so in the northern part of India. Well, again, for that we have to understand that it's a question not of art and culture, not about temples. It is about geography. And for that, we have to understand there's geographical diversity across India. Okay. Then, if we see how well is India tapping its rooftop solar potential. So, to understand this fact that there's not enough potential across India, there are some states which have a lot of potential, such as in Rajasthan, such as in Gujarat. Okay, but then states like Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, they don't have a lot of rooftop solar potential, right? So all that we have to understand, and we'll understand that only when we'll keep in mind that there's a geographical diversity across India. Okay, so we had one CR, we've done another CR, and now we've done LG. Okay, so now whenever we have to write, speak, or think about diversity in Indian society, we'll use these dimensions, okay? And we'll be able to cover almost every dimension, and in a holistic manner, we'll be able to address the fact that there's a lot of diversity in Indian society, okay? So now you know the drill. If you've really liked the lecture so far, then just like, and then you can also comment if you liked or did not like. If there's some change that you'd like to see, you can always comment that, and then share the video with your friends, family, whoever is interested in knowing about diversity in India, and do subscribe. Okay, so that's all for now, and I'll be back with another lecture very soon. Thank you.